Hello, good day, viewers. We have a nice problem here which is related to inequality. So if you are new here, consider subscribing. Press the bell icon so that you will be notified whenever I upload a new content. And don't forget to share to your learning colleagues. Don't forget also to hit the like button. Let's get started. The question reads, find n for which x minus 8 divided by n minus 10 is equal to n divided by 3. This particular equation has no real solution. So what are the values of n that will make this equation to have no real solution? That's what we are looking for. All right, to get started, let us cross multiply. We take this, we multiply by the top. X times x will give us x squared minus x times 8 is 8x equal to, we take n, we multiply by n, that will give us n squared minus n times 10 is 10n. Now let us bring this one to the left. We have x squared minus 8x. As this crosses over, it becomes negative n squared minus 10n equal to 0, right? This is a quadratic equation where the whole of this expression here, n squared minus 10n, negative, is considered to be the constant. So remember that a quadratic equation is said to have no real solution when the discriminant is less than 0. What is discriminant? Remember the formula of quadratic equation, x equal to minus b plus or minus into square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. So the radicand here, b squared minus 4ac, is what we consider to be the discriminant. So once you evaluate the discriminant and you realize a value less than 0, it means that quadratic equation has no real solution. So it means that for this to be true, b squared minus 4ac will have to be less than 0. And what is b here? B is always the coefficient of x, which is negative 8. A is the leading coefficient, which we have here as 1. And C is always the constant, which we have as negative the whole of this. So let's substitute. B squared, that is negative 8 whole squared, minus 4 multiplied by A. A is the coefficient of x squared, which is 1. Then multiplied by C, and C is the whole of this, which is what? I can bring, because we have a negative here, I can multiply that with this negative. Or should I write it inside? I can do it like this. I can use a square bracket here, minus the whole of n squared minus 10n. This must be less than 0. All right, let's simplify. Negative 8 squared is 64. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Times this negative, we have positive 4 multiplied by what? N squared minus 10n. I don't want to expand the bracket. Less than 0. Now we can divide every single term here by 4. I know that 64 divided by 4 is 16, plus 4 divided by 4 is 1, so we only have n squared minus 10, and here less than 0 divided by 4 is still 0. All right, I can rearrange this by writing n squared first before 16. So let me do it here. So our quadratic equation in terms of n becomes n squared minus 10n. Though this is quadratic inequality, then plus 16 less than 0. This can be factorized. We think of two numbers that can be multiplied to get 16, added to negative 10. The numbers are negative 2 and negative 8. So we have n minus 2, n minus 8 less than 0. From here, we can assume that this is a quadratic equation, though we know it is not. So by setting this and this to be equal to 0, it implies n could either be 2 or 8, right? So we draw a number line to test the values before we conclude. We have 2 here and we have 8 somewhere here. So let's test 2. If you plug in 2 here, You have 2 minus 2 is 0. And 0 times whatever will give us 0. And 0 is not less than 0. So 2 is not a solution. Open cycle. Then under 8, plug in 8 here. You see 8 minus 8 is 0 times this will still be 0. And 0 is not less than 0, rather equal to 0. So you can see that 2 and 8 will not satisfy this inequality. So where can we find a solution? Test a value to the left hand side of 2. Test a value in between 2 and 8. And test a value to the right hand side of 8. We can confidently choose 3 here. We can choose 9 here. We can choose a 0 here. Okay, let's test 1, 2, 3 into this inequality. The moment you plug in 0 here, you have 0 minus 2. That will give us what? Negative 2. And we can even use negative multiplied by 0 minus 8 is still negative. And you know that the moment you multiply two negative values, you get positive value. There is no any positive value that is less than 0. Therefore, you will never get a solution to the left-hand side of 2. Whichever value you test, which is less than 2, will not satisfy the inequality. Then let us choose 3 or test 3. 3 minus 2 is positive, multiplied by 3 minus 8 is negative. And you know that multiplying positive value by a negative value, that will give us a negative value. And you know that all negative values are less than 0. So between 2 down to 8, any value you pick here will satisfy the inequality. Then lastly, let us test the right hand side of 8, which we have as 9. 9 minus 2 is positive, definitely. 9 minus 8 is 1, which is positive as well. Positive times positive is positive. And no any positive value is less than 0. Therefore, we have no solution to the right hand side of 8. So the only place we have a solution is between 2 down to 8. And how can we write it in our inequality form? The solution to this inequality is what? 2 less than n less than what? 8. This is our solution. So the only values you can plug in here for n to make the whole equation to have no real solution are values between 2 down to 8, excluding 2 and 8, because 2 and 8 will not satisfy it. Choose, for example, 3. 3 will satisfy. If you plug in 3 here and here, you simplify, you solve the equation, you will not get a real solution. That's what it means. But taking a value, maybe to these positions, you may be able to get a value that will satisfy the equation to have a real solution. And you can also write it in an interval notation as n belongs to the set of values from, okay, use a bracket, from 2 down to 8. Simple. Thank you for watching. Do share to your learning colleagues, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more exciting videos. Bye.